camera. Hey.
Hey.
I was like, come on, it's time to go live. Get ready. He's like, no, I'm too
working.
busy. He's looking at houses. He's always looking at houses.
There's somebody out there that wants to buy one.
There's a lot of somebodies out there that want to buy one. Everybody, how is your Tuesday night?
Good evening.
Good evening. How your Tuesday night went, or how your Tuesday went even. How was your Tuesday?
Busy.
Yeah.
A lot of driving.
Yeah. How long were you on the road today?
A little over 3 hours.
Wow, you guys, that's realtor life right there.
Not a lot.
That is realtor life. Hello. Look, we're awesome. Hello, NP. It's good to see you. Hey. Hello, awesome couple. Look at that. Yeah, we're an awesome couple. In fact, we're going to have a wedding anniversary here pretty quickly. 33 years, I think. Does that sound right? 25? Yeah, 33 years. I had to think about it. Hello, Wendy and Dale. Hey, Purple Drink. I hope the visit to Dallas is going well, although it may have ended by now. Amelia, I know you've been trying to sell your house. Hopefully you're getting some action there. And Humphrey, congratulations. Well, thank you. You must be talking about our wedding anniversary. It's still a little bit a ways away, but it is a big year. So, okay, yeah. I loved the trip. Oh, I'm so glad. Nice. I am really glad you like Dallas. Oh, we love Dallas. Craziest thing, guys, tell me the craziest thing that happened to you today. I want to hear it. Tell me. Crazy thing. Yeah. I didn't want to leave. I don't blame you. We love it here.
We'll buy a house.
He's thinking about it. Trying to remember. Oh, he said, Purple Drink said he liked the American Legend video I made.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's when they were considering.
Nice
Happy wedding anniversary in advance. You are welcome. Oh man, I've really started something here. Sorry guys. Our wedding anniversary is a little bit off, but we're still excited about it. Craziest thing that happened to you. Anything crazy happened to you today?
Oh, I locked the builder out of his own home.
Oh, no, did you not?
Well, okay. I'll try to be nice, but a builder should never set it up where they could be locked out of their own home. So
there's probably some truth. So you were in Alvord, is that right? So way far north and west.
Yeah, it's
north and
west of Decatur, west of Denton.
Wow. So when we say we cover
287.
When we say we covered the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's exactly what we mean. Okay, craziest thing that happened to me today. I was trying to do, and I bet you guys never even think about this thing happening. I was trying to make a video, okay, and it only takes one fly in the studio. Oh. One fly, and the video can take like 2 or 3 times as long. All my YouTube realtor buddies are all laughing with me right now because they know it's true. So I had like this one fly and I'm trying to say something and dang it if that thing doesn't come flying across the camera again.
Just do a little improv and do like a play on the movie, The Fly.
And don't you know everybody's gonna be like, what is that flying across the camera? So that certainly extended my recording time today. Having I it always feels like it's one fly. Who knows if it was one or not? But that dang thing caused a lot of chaos for my recording. So if you see a fly in my next video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
The
Fly. Hey, Purple Drag. The choices are 10 Mile Creek, okay, the nice American Legend. The Parks, a 60-foot lot with Perry Homes, and Painted Tree. Painted Tree with Tri-Point Homes. So I would say probably your weaker builder there would be Painted Tree or Tri-Point, not as up to the level as like American Legend and Perry. Probably my favorite of those three. What would you say would be your favorite of those three?
Depends on what kind of plan you're looking for. Perry Homes has really nice one-story plans. Very nice one-story. They have some of the most choices for one-story plans. Yeah.
That's
American Legend has a very classy, traditional look to it. Perry's probably a little more modern. Tri-Point has a little more modern look.
Yeah. I've always been, I like Perry a lot because I like their warranty. And then I hate Perry because I hate their contract. But overall, if you can, that's only one thing and it's temporary. So as long as you know what you're signing. But overall, I'm such a fan of Perry's contract. I really am. All right, let's see here now. Oh, it's so good to talk to you guys today. I love how everybody's chatting. Any chances of interest rates going down to COVID levels? NP, that is one of the things.
That would be scary.
Yeah, that would be scary, but that is something that I have to show you guys today, a slide about that. It would be bad. And you know what's interesting, and not to go political, but I hear Trump saying, he wants rates like way down again. And I'm like, dude, that would just wreak havoc on the real estate market.
It would. We couldn't sustain it for those almost 2 years in, and it would be worse now.
Yeah. All right. Amelia says Perry home. See, there you go, Amelia. Feel the same way. Completely agree. Syed, 10 Mile Creek has a very high PID. Oh man. I tell you what, I've been doing a video on Prosper ISD, right? And so some of that comes with Prosper and some of that Salina, and like every single Salina community has a PID or a MUD, and not a single one of the Prosper ones do. I mean, Salina, they just love their PIDs. I'm telling you. Humphrey, Perry versus America. I agree. Humphrey.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, I can see.
I can completely agree. Perry versus American.
Which plans you're looking at, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, it would be a tough decision. I love how many options Perry gives you in the one story, because a lot of times on that luxury level, you don't necessarily get that. Let's see, Purple Drink. My wife fell in love. One of the Perry home models that we checked out. The American Legend home was number 1. But became number 2 after viewing the Perry home.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh boy, let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh, guys. I believe
North Sky too.
Woohoo! I believe the PID cost was $416 a month.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is insane. That's just crazy.
That's more than the HOA.
Oh man. I mean, and guys, you have to picture that's not even, necessarily property taxes, right? That's a separate tax. With a PID like that, I personally have high expectations. I want to see a bunch of amenities, Well,
it's not necessarily for amenities. It's for infrastructure and all that. So it's,
I know. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I still want something out of it.
And North Sky too. North Sky, of course, North Sky is surrounded by new schools and all that, and they're trying to build up all the roads up there too. Because
I have long been a fan of North Sky. I like their blending. Well, let me put it this way: I like the townhome aspect being across the street of luxury homes.
But it looks like they slowed down in building up there or something.
Have they?
I mean, well, because I look at them. I have some buyers looking up that way. I've been looking, and I go back and forth. And there hasn't been a lot of changes. So, and K-House is not showing that they've even started yet. And I know they bought almost all of phase 2.
And this is North Sky?
Yeah, they doubled the price of the lots when they bought the lot. So
wow. Yes, I would go with North Sky if the PID is this high. And Amelia says
not
40K PID for North Sky.
Yeah.
So you're probably talking about the long run, but it'd be interesting to know
40K
that would be the long run.
30 years or whatever.
But what is it month to month? I think that would be really interesting to see.
Still up there though.
Yep. And she says now even in Liliana it's 40K. Yeah. The PIDs, I'm telling you, this is what Salina's all about.
Liliana's a nice community.
Yeah. That was from American Legend home. Yeah. I think American Legend and Perry both good. I think Perry's definitely the better warranty for sure.
Yeah.
With Perry. Amelia, $275 a month. Nice. Guys, so you're talking about your property taxes, your PID of $275 a month, and your HOA. Okay, so all of that, and of course, then you have insurance, and then you have your principal and interest.
But you don't need like electricity and water or anything like that.
A month. Yeah. My goodness. Humphrey, why not just include the PID in the sales price? I
don't know if they can. So basically the PID is a bond. The city and the developers that went together and they basically decided to buy bonds. So they're paying. It's a loan that they have that has to be paid off, and so they pass that on to the residents to pay it off.
It's interesting, though, with it being somewhat of a fixed amount. I mean, that's interesting. Could that be a negotiating tool?
It's not. Well, and it's not. If you look at you go to the city web. Actually, that's one good thing about Salina has a good city website. You can learn a lot about it. And you go to there and you will see all the different PIDs and you can look up the documentation on it. And it's not, it will change year to year. So it changes. And you can pay it off all at once if you wanted to.
You can, which is an
that
interesting,
would be a crazy thing to do, I think.
It would be, but wouldn't that be an interesting negotiating tool?
Yeah.
Why not just include the PID? Hey, Mr. Seller, I like your home.
Oh, if it was
I'd like you to pay off the PID.
Maybe. Yeah.
A Hazlitt question. Hazlitt is just up and coming. What about Sweetgrass and Hazlitt? Do they have a PID or a mud?
We were looking at Sweetgrass recently.
He's going to look that up. He's going to look that up. Let's see. You could just put $40,000 less down and pay it off. True. I mean, you could pay it off. I've heard of people paying it off.
Yeah.
And the issue with that is that you're probably not going to live there.
You're not going to live there
all of those years, right? And so you pay it off for the future owner, right? Because chances are you're probably not going to live there. All right. So the annual installment sheet I got from American Legend for 2026, 5,004. So yeah, monthly would put it at 417. Wow. That is just, it's so crazy. And to think that, Prosper contiguous, right? Just there and they don't do the PIDs, right? They don't do the PIDs. Like if you look at Windsong Ranch, instead of a PID, what they do is that you have to pay an amount at closing. They call it a community enhancement assessment.
Well, and a lot of HOAs have that something like that. Anyway, they have capital funds.
Mm-hmm. So but this is
but that's more. So that's why I'm saying the PID is not specifically towards amenities and stuff. It's, in fact, it really isn't at all. That's the HOAs doing that part. It's the, developers pay them to build those and stuff, but the PID is mostly for infrastructure. So bringing in utilities, setting up roads, access, and all that kind of stuff.
So all of that has to be paid for. This is how Salina chooses to pay for it. I made a video once. I think it got like 55,000 views on talking about why not to move to Salina. Salina, I mean, I'm not against Salina. It's got a lot to offer, but the PIDs or something. But let's talk, guys, see what's going on with home values. Let's talk market. Let's go ahead and talk about that here for a minute, because I really want to have a conversation today about what's going on with Dallas home prices. And one thing you're going to see about us is that we always want to give you objective data. So we don't want to push you into buying. We don't want to push you. So we're not going to say it's crashing in order to get more views, nor are we going to pressure you into buying so that we get paid. We're not going to do either of those things. Whether or not it's the right time to buy is a personal decision based on your own circumstances. So please keep that in mind as we read this article.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Sweetwater has a PID. If you go to the Hazlitt, go to hazlitt.org. That's their city website. You'll see their PID there. I thought they did.
So Hazlitt has PIDs too.
Yeah.
So it's just how a city chooses.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this market stuff. Dallas housing market reverses course. Okay, let's take a look here. With an explosion in housing inventory and dwindling sales, Dallas, one of the hottest housing markets during the pandemic, is now beginning to crash back to earth, according to the latest data.
Words they use.
I know, that's very dramatic. so dramatic. A recent report by Redfin found that the Texas city, I'm gonna pop in here real quick. We were both debating before we did this as to whether or not it was talking about Dallas the city or Dallas the metro.
It makes a big difference.
It makes a very big difference. But right here it says that the Texas city, was one of only 10 metros. Okay, so make up your mind here, because Dallas is a city, but you've got DFW as a metro. So I'm going to assume they're talking about metro here. But yeah, fun little conversation we had there. Across the country, where home prices fell in the 4 weeks ending on May 18, reporting a year-over-year drop of 3.4%, the second biggest in the country after Oakland, California.
Oakland. Wow.
Yeah. All right. Many of the markets that became the most overheated during the pandemic home buying frenzy are now experiencing the most dramatic corrections in the country. And one thing that came to mind as I was reading this was it was kind of like last year it happened in Austin. Like Austin, you saw this big correction.
They had like a California style.
Yeah, you saw like this huge correction in Austin. And then this year you're seeing it more in Dallas. So it's kind of interesting that the timing of that. Okay, let's see here now. Let me see. These reversals come with a surge in inventory as buyers still bogged down by sky-high prices and rising housing costs slowly gain the upper hand over sellers. Dallas was a hot home buyer market during the pandemic because it was a relatively affordable metro area with a thriving job market, economist Amy Nixon told Newsweek. And I can tell you from us being in the market since 2007, okay, they're not lying. It was insane during that time. Oh, so many offers that we typed up, sometimes 10, 12 offers for our buyers that just wouldn't get accepted. And just, they would get so frustrated that they would get to where, like they didn't even have to necessarily like the house. They just needed a place to live. So you saw this, I just remember that. And so I think too, like when I think about mortgage rates and things like that, that influences me because we were there, like we were encountering having to put in all those offers for our buyers and having to constantly go look and then race back home because the day it was listed, it already had multiple offers, so anyway, memories. Okay. Dallas was a hot home buyer market. Okay. The tech industry experienced a massive hiring boom in 2020 and 2021. So we also had huge numbers of foreign home buyers coming to Dallas on H-1B work visas. She said, with average salaries of $167,000, these buyers were able to outbid locals and drive regional home prices up. And I think that's kind of what happened in Austin to a great degree as well.
Even more, yeah.
Yeah.
And prices went up a lot more than they did here.
They did. That is, that is
affected completely. San Antonio and north, all of the north part of Austin, between here and Austin. So
yeah, that is absolutely true. Austin was far more affected, and Austin is far more singular in their type jobs and their industries.
Mostly tech.
Whereas Dallas has tech, but it's not all it has.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Back to the article. Okay, so let's see. Many of these newcomers, including those driven to the city by the rise of remote work, came from coastal areas. That's true too, and had high incomes, so they were able to aggressively bid up property prices as well. So it's very true. All of this is very true. Due to record low interest rates, investors crowded the market too and seized the opportunity to buy single family homes to turn them into rental properties. There simply weren't enough available properties to meet demand. So most homes for sale went into bidding wars.
And inventory was much lower back then too.
Yeah, it's going to talk about that in a minute too. Yeah. And many rental properties did too. Okay. The result was the median price of a home in Dallas jumped from less than $340,000 in 2019 to a peak of $485,000 in May of 2022. In April, home price. So now we've gone from 2022. Now we're talking about April this year. Home prices in Dallas were still rising despite sales taking a hit. According to Redfin, the median sales price of a home in the city in April was $467,500, up 5.7% year over year. That's crazy. That was despite sales being down, the volume of sales being down by 8.8%, and listings spending 7 more days on the market compared to a year earlier.
7 days before. Is not that much.
Yeah. Over the past 4 years, Dallas experienced record levels of new housing starts and deliveries. Also very true. This is occurring alongside a huge increase in mortgage rates, a slowdown in domestic migration, and widespread tech layoffs. So I know that we have experienced at least couple buyers in the tech industry who have had layoffs, but that's not. I would. That
hasn't really affected our overall buyers because, this is there's a lot of tech here, but there's a lot of insurance, there's a lot of medical, there's a lot of gas and power, there's oil and gas, there's banking, finance, there's insurance, or and auto actually. Auto industry and stuff like that. So.
And I would say if you were to do like a sampling of the type of people, buyers that tend to work with us, there's definitely a diversity enough that you can tell different it's not just a tech industry.
People,
get a lot in the medical profession. We get college professors, just across the field there. So we are definitely, to the extent that our brokerage is a sampling, we're not just completely tech heavy. Okay, let me see. Where were we? Yes. This was the other thing I wanted to say about this. Sorry, but it just comes to mind. If you weren't around in 2020 and 2021, and you've been more in the market now, okay, you've probably been spoiled by builders offering incentives. You've probably come to expect that you can walk in the door and they're going to tell you, we'll do this and we'll do that and we'll offer this. In the 2021 era, that was not the case. Okay. They did not offer incentives. They didn't have to. You were put on a waiting list, right? And you would jump. There were people, I remember reading articles about people sleeping outside the community when a builder was going to release homes or release lots. And so they would spend the night there and in order to be the first ones to grab the lots. Yep. So if you can kind of visualize the power of interest rates here, okay, because that's what 3% rates did. People literally spending the night.
It was the rates that actually rose those prices all that much. Well, I would say that, and partly the the increase, and there were a lot more people coming in the economy. We had because at the time we also were still having new companies and stuff moving their headquarters here and stuff like that. They were hiring a lot more back then, but there's still growth in the employment here. So there's still people. We still have one of the higher levels of people moving into Dallas-Fort Worth than any other city or metro instead of city. Yep, very true. Okay, let's see here now. What is happening then is that supply is steadily growing while demand is slowly receding. Now, this is what you were talking about. In Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington, there were 29,084 homes listed for sale last month. Okay, guys, listen to this comparison because this is pretty, this is mind-boggling. In May of 2021, there were 6,010. Inventory in the area now is also higher than it was in May 2019 at 22,293. And it is the highest on record going back to May of 2017. So can we just reflect a minute on the insanity of only 6,000 homes in the entire DFW area? So to a degree, I mean, this is good news. Like if you're a buyer, this is great news, because this is how you get those incentives from in the new construction. More inventory. I mean, this inventory is really helpful. Okay, let's see here now. Inventory has risen in part. Okay, can we agree with this part? Because Texas has been building more new homes than almost every other state in the country over the past few years. So true, man. Also, homeowners who were locked into their homes by high mortgage rates have now stopped waiting for rates to come down. There's only so long that you can hold off on I don't know, you've outgrown your home or you have to move. And so then you end up having to sell. After all. Good stuff. Very, very true. And the new construction explosion is insane. We always tell our buyers that we're very proactive in the search with them because there's so much new construction out there that's just not going to be on Zillow, and that we're there to help you find it, because otherwise you're not going to find it. If you don't have someone that's familiar with the market and familiar with what's out there, there are so many of these. Starview and Prosper comes to mind. It's only going to have 174 lots. Right. If you're not in the know or working with someone that's in the know, you're just not going to know that one exists. And it's amazing. You don't want to miss it. All right. Let's see here now. In a market that suffered greatly from the pandemic supply shortage, which absolutely it did, new inventory should be welcomed by buyers. But that isn't what is happening in Dallas. I don't know. Some of our buyers are welcoming it. Buyers who have been pushed to the sidelines of the market since 2019 are still being kept there by inflated mortgage rates and sky-high prices, which remain much higher than pre-pandemic levels. So you've got your prices that are higher and your rates that are higher. Property taxes, that's another one, have also risen massively over the past few years. They're going to follow values. So if values go up, the taxes go up.
It's just, they're going to go hand in hand. Property taxes have also risen massively over the past few years, contributing to buyers' affordability struggles. As of 2024, Dallas homeowners were paying about 41% more in property taxes than they did 5 years before, according to Redfin. Now, I would say that personally, our property taxes have not doubled or come close to doubling.
No.
So I don't necessarily think that's true across the board, especially when you've got your homestead cap that prevents it from going up. Now, taxable value or the value, the assessed value,
appraised value could be,
but your taxable value. So I find it, but I mean, I'm not arguing that they've gone up though. Definitely they have. As the prices of homes shot up over the last 4 years, high property taxes and insurance costs began to eat away at the relative affordability advantage Dallas experienced prior to the pandemic. Many of the homes for sale in Dallas are now being sold. This is very true. Only after the sellers sweetened the deal with a price discount, or they end up sitting idle on the market. I've got to celebrate. One of our agents got a home under contract, originally listed, I think, at 720, and just got it under contract for 560. Nice. So that was a huge win. We were all really excited for her, proud of her negotiating efforts for that. So huge win there. And that's probably an extreme example, but still definitely a win. And it was a relocation company that is the buyer. And they just said they're tired of it. I think their response was they're just going to accept it because they're tired of the house being on the market. Right. So those are the kind of wins that you can get. Okay. Let's see here now. According to Redfin, 33% of homes sold with price drops in April, up 1 percentage point year over year. So that's not hugely consequential. By comparison, 20.3% of homes sold above list price, down by 3 percentage points year over year. The Texas housing market is shifting in favor of buyers. Boy, howdy. Yep, that's the truth. And Dallas could be among the metros experience price drops by the end of the year, especially if inventory continues. There we are. We're back. So I don't know if you guys saw a gap in that or not, but there for a minute we had lost our signal. All right. Yeah, just kind of one of those things that happens. Let's see here. Among the metros experiencing price drops by the end of the year, but Nixon expects buyer demand to remain low for the foreseeable future. Right now, there's a massive affordability gap between the cost of renting versus owning that makes buying at current interest rates and prices the less appealing options. I wasn't sure when I read that. I wasn't sure if I agreed with it because I feel like rents are pretty high too.
I would have to look. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
know they came down a little bit, but they haven't come down that much. And you have to kind of consider maybe month to month, it could be lower. But if you look over time, I mean,
I just like, I know we've got like a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,300 square foot that if you look at the market analysis, it should be renting for like $1,800 a month. Okay. So that is not, you can also buy a house of similar size and also pay $1,800 a month. So, all right, let's see, where were we? Unlike during the pandemic, there's plenty of rental inventory available. True. And rents are even falling in several submarkets, Nixon continued. Eventually, I think the housing market will recover, but it's going to require some combination of lower home prices and lower mortgage rates. So I can tell you guys, when I read that kind of took me off on a rabbit trail this evening. I was kind of reviewing the article and I was like, interest rates, yes, because again, it's just a very salient memory of everything that was going on in 2021 and just how intense the market was. So now I'll show you the tangent that took me on. 4 in 5 home buyers are still waiting for lower mortgage rates. Chime in right now. Are you one of them? 80% of home buyers are still waiting on the sidelines. So I'm very interested to know, guys, if you are among those that are still waiting. Okay. Pent up demand. I talk about this a lot. We've got pent up demand. So 80%. And
which means if
or not, but we're looking, okay, there we go. Between February and 26 and March 4, U.S. News ran a nationwide survey of 1,200 Americans who are planning to buy a home this year using a mortgage. We asked respondents a series of questions to find out how the mortgage rate environment has impacted their home buying plans. Here's what we found. 4 in 5 home buyers, 80%, are waiting for mortgage rates to drop before buying a home in 2025. That is an increase from our 2024 and 2023 surveys, when about 2/3 were holding out for lower rates. Among buyers who are waiting for rates to fall, a quarter, 25%, want to see them below 5%. Below 5%. However, economic forecasts don't show that happening this year at all. Additionally, 73% of today's homebuyers plan on refinancing to a lower rate in the future. Yep, interesting stuff. Okay, so that led me to kind of take a look at yet another another rabbit trail. This is called the Federal Reserve dot plot. Okay, so if you are one of the 4 out of 5 that are waiting, and you're wanting to see rates drop, okay, this was just released like this week, and this is what they show. Like, you've got the whole you've got the whole Federal Reserve panel, and so if you can picture, this is all the members, okay, of the Federal Reserve, and what they do is each one of them vote as to when they think the Fed will cut rates. Okay, and so then if you can see this little yellow part right here, this is where we are currently. Okay, so somewhere between, just under 4.5%, kind of a range there. So you can see right here, 7 of the Federal Reserve members think that rates are going to stay the same in 2025. And also, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, we've got our year down here. So you've got 2025, 26, 27, and then longer run. So right here, you've got 7 that are thinking nothing's going to happen this year at all. Mortgage rates. Or no. What we're talking about right now is Fed rates, okay? And then you signal again. Okay, there we're back. I do want to explain in this, lest anyone misunderstand me, that when we're talking about the Federal Reserve, that's not a direct correlation to mortgage rates. It influences it. I had somebody comment on that saying they were disappointed that I didn't know any better. And I was like, no, I know that it's just an influence, but they do influence it. Sometimes they do, and sometimes
Sometimes the influence is the other way. Sometimes they go opposite directions.
Yeah. So it's an influence. So when we think about, as we're looking at this, just kind of keep that in mind. So anyway, that's the dot plot. I think it's very helpful, very interesting if you're kind of wondering where's the Fed stand. So we've got 7, which is a fairly big number, saying they think it's going to stay the same all year. And then we've got 8, still the majority, that are saying they see 2 cuts. Okay. So as you're thinking through, your home buying strategy, if you're trying to time it, if you're one of the 4 out of the 5, you got to take that into consideration. Okay. And then just kind of take it from us what it's like when rates are really low. You don't, if at all possible, you don't want to be buying in that market. Yeah. All right. I want to show you guys one more thing. It's an email that I got today. And I thought I texted this to Dale when I got it, and what I said was like, whoa. So this is from Coventry, and we get these emails all the time. And this one particularly says, hi, Realtor, we have some fantastic news. Effective today, our fixed rate forward commitment, you guys remember, if you've watched my videos, we've talked about forward commitment, loan programs are being extended to any home that closes on or before December 31st. Okay. Fixed rate forward commitment. Now, if you guys haven't watched my videos where I explain this, a forward commitment is what allows them to offer you like a 4% rate for 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they paid it up in advance. They put the money up in advance. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this, when they use the word forward commitment because they do this per the property, not per you as the buyer.
Right.
If they're going to do it per you as the buyer, that's a different animal, and there are, limitations. Yeah. And that's why there's so much more new construction going if they can offer these forward commitments. So I found that this is so aggressive. this fixed rate forward commitment. This is what you're not going to see when rates go down.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to see this. Think about it. They won't have to, right? Either because rates will already be down and because there'll be more demand.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I think, yeah, if it would just, if you could get like, in the 5.5 to 6 range stabilized, I think that would be a good rate. We could probably sustain that, and you could get some good prices. Yeah, you would. I think, and also, so I was talking about what we were 3-point-something% down is the median sales price, right? Okay, but I still know lots of places where the prices are going up. In fact, I'm just looking at some today, and a lot of the ones I looked at just a month or so ago, the prices have gone up. So it just depends. So I think overall, I think that's just more likely that's just kind of the Dallas-Fort Worth area kind of turning into the way it was before. It's just more normalizing than it is actually going down or anything like that.
I don't know. The numbers showed it going down.
Yeah.
Overall. And I think that the pre-owns,
there's still some going up. So, but
yeah. It's true. When you see a big number like that covering an entire area. Yeah. So I think, guys,
I'm not trying to discourage that or anything. I'm just saying it's not like we're crashing or anything like that here. We're just, just more normalizing.
Yeah.
And so I think, and we are very rate sensitive here. And I do think that's why it's a little scary if rates came down a lot.
Yeah.
Then we're going to see another 2021.
That's what we don't want.
And the prices are going to skyrocket again.
Trust me, guys, you do not want the emotional roller coaster of 2021 interest rates. I promise you. I was reading something in one of the articles that I read today, kind of touched on what you just said, which is that the Fed is after neutral. They want a neutral rate that doesn't hurt the market, but doesn't create artificial home price appreciation.
Right.
I'm like, what is that? 6%, 5.5%? Like, what's going to be a good neutral? Because that's where we need them to get, and then they just need to stay there.
Or maybe if it's even in the low 6s, who knows? I don't know.
But we've got some more comments. Let me see here now.
But maybe we should have a gradual drop instead of a bunch at once.
Let's see here now. Oh my goodness, I have got all the way down. We've got lots of comments here.
Wait.
So the annual. Okay, we talked about that. I was told. Okay. Good question, Janie Lee. What is the best way to see you guys in person to work with you? I really mostly get filling out forms and questionnaire, and I don't get a callback. Okay, well, you're not going to get that with us because what we have you do is a questionnaire that immediately launches to my personal Calendly page, and we have a Google Meet. So we have a very specific way so that you're not doing phone calls and not getting returns. Okay. So that questionnaire, it's called our Let's Find Home questionnaire. In fact, I can go ahead and show that to you. All right. Let me show you what that looks like. It looks like this. Okay. And so what it does is when you fill out the questionnaire, you'll immediately go into Calendly and schedule a Google Meet with me personally. So that's how it works for us. So you're not waiting, on a phone call or anything like that. It's just going to go straight to my Calendly page, and then we meet and we talk. Okay. Thanks for that info about the PID. Absolutely. I'm Sweetgrass. Awesome. That is awesome. Yes, absolutely. At this point, if I can get a 5% APR without buy downs, I'll take it. You're probably still
the APR. I mean, if you're doing a 5% APR, that means your rate's under 5%. You're in a 4.5% rate or something.
APR.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here now.
That would be low.
I was told that Fort Worth is 28% overvalued by Reventure app. What do you guys think? We are ready to buy, but waiting on the right timing in price. I can tell you this about Reventure app. I often yell at the TV if I see his videos. and here's why, because he talks about these builder cuts and he doesn't talk about the actual value from where those cuts came from. And so you have your typical builder behavior where they mark things way up, or they're just starting way up when the house is getting finished. And, so let's just say the house is $100,000 overpriced. And then you have someone coming like from a venture app that says, oh my gosh, the prices were just dropped to 75,000. I mean, either way, it's still overpriced.
Yeah.
Right. And so it encourages people to think they're getting a good deal. And that's my frustration with, videos like that. And there's a lot locally as well on YouTube where they will, point out a single house and be like, look at this. They just dropped the price by $150,000. There's a good chance it's still overpriced.
But it could be all different other kinds of reasons too. I mean,
yeah. And so that's kind of my perspective. So somebody that I would say, what's your metric? What's your data that you decide the entire city of Fort Worth is overvalued by 28%? I want to know where you're getting that from.
That's pretty high.
And
I can see there's definitely some areas that are probably a little overpriced, and there's some parts where there's some, like if you're selling pre-owned over there, it's a little tough because you're competing against new construction, and so there's some value issues there. But yeah.
Well, and I would say that value is so micro local.
Yeah.
Plus, it's micro local. Plus, you've got to find comparable sales. So when we're looking at value, we're looking at some very specific criteria, right? When you're talking about a very data-driven market analysis, you can't do that for a whole city, So I'm like,
there's huge differences.
Yeah, there
in different
are
parts
huge
of
differences.
Fort Worth.
Yeah. I mean, an accurate market analysis is going to be micro local, focused on properties that are exactly like the one you're looking at. So, you got my opinion there. Probably a little too unplugged on reventure. Okay, 2 questions. In this type of market, what incentives will builders offer for new builds versus in-stock homes? Also, how long do you foresee the buyer's market lasting?
So new builds right now, what I've been seeing, they could possibly do some, it'll be rare, but it's possible to see some rate stuff for new builds. But mostly usually what you're seeing for incentives for a build project is you're going to see they're going to put in money towards design options, structural options, that kind of stuff, and then money towards closing costs that you could use for a rate buy down. That's usually what they're going to do. That's the typical.
Now
and some of them have increased some of that money towards the rate buy down. So I've even seen up to 50,000 or more in option help also. So
just a couple things about new builds. You have the most opportunity for discount on base price and lot premium if it's brand new, because they want people to come in there and validate the area. You walk over there, it looks like a field, like Starview right now looks like a field, right? They want people to come in.
They're trying to get some sales.
Yeah. And you're kind of taking a leap of faith. You're like, this is just a big field and you're telling me you're going to build these amenities. How do I know that's true? Right. So at that point you can, we have had success in getting lot premiums reduced and base prices reduced. We have had it. It's not super common. But that's your best if you want to juxtaposition your place for the best success.
Right.
Go after a community that's just starting out.
If you want to build,
yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is
also that's also a great time because the values are probably going to go up, the prices are going to go up, and you're automatically going in with a lot of equity. So
that's what I was about to say. My gosh, you read my mind. I call it it's called equitable title.
Yeah.
They teach you about it in realtor school. Equitable title is you getting today's price for tomorrow's value. Today's price, tomorrow's value.
Yeah. There's a lot more, like for a community like Starview, there's a lot going into that. Sometimes you have to kind of do a little research into that community to see what's going on, like who the developer is. So the developer, that one is Blue Star. Blue Star is one of the top developers. They don't do a ton of communities, but they do high-end communities. That is Jerry Jones' involvement. And so that's Star Trails.
Star Trail is nice.
Gorgeous.
Oh, I love Star Trail.
Very well done.
Yeah.
But also it's the commercial part of it that's going on around them and stuff too. Like Hillwood does the same kind of thing. They will not only just do the residential part, they will do commercial around it as well and build up. So adds value in at least two different ways.
So picture a community like Starview, where it's walkable to the Gates of Prosper, and the Gates of Prosper is this big commercial shopping area, right? Okay, so you're getting today's price based on tomorrow's value, because you don't have to assume any of the ownership costs or the debt service until you close.
Of course, I mean it's going to be a high end, so it's going to be the costs are going to be up there on that one. So you have to look at each community from that standpoint. Yeah.
And answering your second question, how long do you foresee this buyer's market lasting? What do you think?
Wow, I don't know. I mean, it could change dramatically in the fall. I mean, it just depends on if the government decides to really get involved. I think if they just let the economy go and just kind of just let it do what it's supposed to do, things would be pretty gradual. We'll do nice, but I don't know.
Like when I see a question
it could go.
I'm thinking interest rates.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it could
that's
go,
what I'm thinking.
Rates could drop, and we could have a really crazy backwards fall, and
we could.
And,
I've talked to many of my buyers about that.
Then it would probably make 2026 a horrible year.
I think he's saying the same thing, which is I foresee the buyer's market. There we are. We're back. I see it changing when interest rates go down. That's the big thing. Yeah. And I'm talking about mortgage rates, right? And I've had some people say, hey, with our increasing debt, mortgage rates are not going to go down, whether the Fed drops or not. And I think there's a valid argument for that. So when I talk to my buyers and they're like, Wendy, should we buy now or should we buy in the fall? I'm like, that's kind of a wild card, because in the fall, we typically see seasonal drops. I don't know that with prices. Yeah. And I don't know if we're going to see that if mortgage rates go down. I think that we could end up not seeing that. And so then I'm kind of while not wanting to appear self-serving, I'm kind of like, now's a good time because we've got Coventry offering,
I guess in some ways you could also watch inventory, and if the inventory stays up, then it's going to be mostly a buyer's market. So
inventory, that's a good point too. And that's not going to change overnight. So you can be monitoring it. Same with the mortgage rates. You just keep monitoring it, because as long as
look at the bond rates, the 10-year treasury rates. So that's what.
Well, that was a very long-winded answer.
Yeah, well, I don't know why
oh my gosh, Mr. OL, I am sorry. We just have the gift of gab here. Just waiting for my house to sell. I know, Amelia. I hope you get a buyer soon. Janie Lee says, yes. I am not sure about what. Yes. What do you guys think? We are ready to buy. Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. I would get a good discount and go with 321 instead of waiting for rates to go down. The price of the home matters. I agree with you. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I agree with you that the price of the home absolutely matters. And I think far too many buyers go in kind of charmed by the forward commitment, and maybe they get laid off and then they can't sell. So I am a huge fan of the forward commitment, contingent and partnered with making sure the home is not overpriced. Got to make sure you have that data. Make sure that home is not overpriced. That's the big one. Okay, let's see here now. Generally, people do not rent as nice of a house that they would buy. That plays into the higher cost to buy versus rent. Yep. All right. I'll take a lower home price over a low interest rate any day, because I can always refinance for a lower rate when they drop. I won't get that opportunity with the price of the home. I would say good strategy, but don't go into it assuming that you'll be able to refinance. Make sure you can afford it at the rate you pay right now. That's kind of what I would do. Builders will and are coming down on price. They're very protective of appraised values. And so they're hesitant, they're reluctant. They're like, oh man, if I let one house go for lower, smart realtors are going to look at that and expect all the other ones to go for lower, which we do. So they are reluctant, but I agree with you. I think home price is good. I think, again, if you can get the forward commitment, though, I am a fan of that, as long as you're not, overpaying. All right, let's see here now. In a way, I would like to see the APR drop, but like I said, if I get 5% without the buy down, I'll take it. Anything to get out of California. How did the William? Yes, Tina. I don't know if you were the one that commented, and I didn't get a chance to answer that. Somebody commented on my William Ryan video, and I haven't sat down and answered all my YouTube comments lately. How did the William Ryan home turn out? The one in Stonehaven. We just backed out of a deal with them. Oh, Tina, wow.
William Ryan, we didn't do. William Ryan was in Devonshire.
Oh, you're right. That was. Wait, are you sure? What was the one in Stonehaven?
That was Meritage.
Okay. So yes. So that one.
It went through. Yeah.
It went through. It closed.
They fixed everything.
It's just it becomes extraordinarily stressful, and as realtors, we have to go up the chain of command. We have to kind of make threats sometimes, like you guys have got to fix this, And so I think with that one, I probably went up 5 chains of command.
Did. And you actually got somebody to talk to.
Yeah. So it, ultimately they fixed it and they made it right. It was just really, really ugly. And it was ugly at every step of the way. We kept having at the first inspection, fighting it. Second inspection, no, you can't. Don't cover up that drywall until you fix this, and you let us see that you fixed it. Don't put up drywall. So it was ugly, but ultimately, so that's interesting. I hope you didn't lose a lot on a deposit by backing out. I missed the beginning. Amy,
yes.
Amla, yes, this live will be posted. And please do post any questions you have on there after it's posted. If you have run into any, because I can comment there as well. Okay. Some incentives I see rate reductions being offered across the board. Yes. Getting lot premiums reduced and negotiating flex cash instead of a design center option is a better approach in my book.
Actually, where you'll see the best lot premium reductions will be on higher priced homes and higher priced lot premiums. So because they have more room for dealing with stuff. So yeah,
that's a good point. That's our last comment. What would you say the takeaway? If you had a takeaway of this topic, prices going down, dependent on interest rates. What do you think?
There's some deals out there. You just got to look, but there's still some places that have high demand and prices are going up too. So you just got to look. You have to decide for yourself. It's a personal thing, your personal budget, personal finances, and you have to figure out what you want. But there are some deals. Yep.
Don't work with a realtor who doesn't provide good data. Yeah. I would say that you've got to have the data to make a good decision.
You need data.
Especially when you're seeing prices wobbling. They're going down, they're going up, right? So make sure that you which by the way, we'd love to work with you. Hopefully that goes without saying. We've been in the market since 2007. Know Dallas very well. So we'd love to work with you. That would be my takeaway is just, again, and this is no surprise, is to lean heavily into the data and make sure it's current data. All right, a couple more comments and then we will scoot. How does one get their earnest money back? I read there is a mortgage contingency date. Is this date the pre-approval or the approval before closing? Kydron, that's going to depend on your contract, right? Everything is going to be in the contract, and that's going to be different depending on the seller or if the seller's a builder or if it's pre-owned.
And it's not the pre-approval. I'll put it that way, but it depends on the contract because the builder contract can be different from a typical 1 to 4 track contract.
Very true. That very true. You're right about deals out there. Yeah. Great show. Have a good evening. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for joining us. Always glad to see you having to join us. Okay, last comment. So far, I only got something from American Legend, waiting from Tri-Point and with Perry Homes. I have to wait until fall as they will be building the 60-foot lot homes. Yeah, a lot of them are kind of delaying opening up new phases.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
So
see some slowdowns in that.
Mr. OL says, thank you for a very informative evening. Well, thank you for joining us. We have the gift of gab when it comes to all things real estate. Love, it's our passion.
All right.
Love talking about it. All right. You guys have a great evening. We are going to head off to get some dinner and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Bye-bye.